Brittany.
I'm Gina.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Marissa, and we're doing a project on the integumentary system, and we're making slutty brownies.
Okay, so the integumentary system is a system designed to protect the body, and it's composed of skin and its accessory structures. So there's two major components, and that's the epidermis and the dermis. The accessory structures are the hairs, the nails, and the exocrine glands, like the sebaceous and sweat glands. And there's also a third component, which is the hypodermis. Now let's get started! Okay, so the hypodermis, or subcutaneous layer, is important in stabilizing the position of the skin in relation to the underlying tissue. It'll keep the skin positioned over like skeletal muscles or organs so it can continue its function. This layer is made of a mixture of adipose and areolar tissue, which makes the skin durable yet stretchy. The hypodermis has a large amount of blood flow that generally feeds to the adipose tissue. For the hypodermis, we'll be using cookie dough, and it'll be going in, can't see. So this is the base layer, and next is the dermis.
The dermis is the layer that lies between the hypodermis and the epidermis. This layer contains different layers, accessory structures, nerves, and blood vessels. The dermis is made out of two different parts, the papillary layer and the reticular layer. The papillary layer contains blood vessels, the lymph system, neurons, and it binds the top layer of the skin to the lower levels. The reticular layer is deeper than the papillary layer and contains a large network of interwoven, irregular connective tissue and is made out of collagen fibers and elastic fibers. And it is not directly bound to the other two layers. Collagen fibers are very strong and resistant to stretching. They bend very easily and twist easily as well. Elastic fibers provide flexibility in the dermis. Both the collagen fibers and the elastic fibers work together to prevent damage from too much stretching.
The Oreos are going to be the dermis. This is the hypodermis and the dermis.
So now for the epidermis. The epidermis is the topmost layer of your skin. It's made out of stratified squamous epithelium and has waves that attach to the dermis. They require different nutrients, but the farther they get from the dermis, they die. They're dominated by keratinocytes, which are abundant epithelial cells that contain large amounts of keratin. These make up the layers of the epidermis. The different amounts of layers that make them up, it's like two different types of skin. There's thick skin and there's thin skin. Thin skin is made up of 4 layers and covers most of the body surfaces. Thick skin is the additional layer of skin. You see these where there's more mechanical use, like your heel of your foot. There are 5 layers of the strata. There's the bottommost layer, which is the stratum basal. It has ridges and attaches to the basement membrane. The second layer is the stratum spinosum. This layer is dominated by the daughter cells of the basal layer, and it's still alive. The third layer is the stratum granulosum. Its grainy is made up of 3 to 5 layers of keratinocytes that push the surface of the spinosum. Here the cells have fully stopped dividing, so it creates a thick, dense layer of cells. The stratum lucidum is only found in the thick layer of skin. These are thick and dense. They provide a layer of protection that the other ones don't provide as greatly. The last layer is the stratum corneum. It's the topmost layer and is also thick, but has many different layers that keep out organisms and makes it dry. Skin pigments are chemicals that are designed to absorb or reflect different wavelengths of light. Pigments will absorb light while other light will be reflected. Keratin is an orange-yellow pigment that accumulates in the epidermal cells. Melanin is blackish-brownish, yellow-brownish pigment, and it's produced by melanocytes in the stratum basal. Melanocytes are different for every region, and like freckles and moles on your body are where they're grouped. Melanin is designed to protect the body from harmful radiation, and melanosomes are designed to shade the body from ultraviolet light. Sunlight in the basal membrane is important to help create vitamin D, which is converted from cholesterol. And that was the epidermis. Now I will be putting on the epidermis layer. These are the layers of the hypodermis, dermis, and then epidermis.
One main accessory structure is the hair, which protects the skin from the outer environment. The hair serves 3 main functions. It insulates the skin, protects the skin from outer damage, and senses the changes in the environment. There are 2 types of hair: terminal hairs, which are heavy and darkly pigmented, and vellus hairs, which are less thick, lightly colored, and they're usually found all over your body except for places such as the palms of your hands and underneath your feet. The hair originates from the hair follicle, which is surrounded by the root hair plexus, and that's also a form of connective tissue. There are two types of sweat glands that we're going to talk about right now. Apocrine sweat glands secrete oils onto the hair follicles, and merocrine sweat glands secrete oils onto the skin. And they usually produce a very watery sweat, and it's directly dumped onto the surface of the skin. There are another two types of sweat glands, sebaceous glands, which discharge an oily secretion, and the basic sweat glands release a watery liquid. So finally, the last accessory structure are the nails, and they grow from the nail root, and the visible part on the nail root is called a cuticle, which is at the base of the nail. So the thin streaks of icing represent the vellus hairs. The thick streaks of icing represent the terminal hairs. The Nilla wafers represent the nails.
This is the side profile of our skin. The lowermost point is the cookie dough, which is the hypodermis. Then the middle portion is the Oreo, which symbolizes the dermis. And then the brownie portion is the epidermis. And then we have our nails and our hair, vellus, and terminal.